to another episode of the BigAsp Cornhole podcast. Sean and Dane are with you again.
That we are. What's going on, brother?
Nothing, man. Just got done doing a great interview. We'll kind of tease that a little bit later.
Yeah,
but
just gotta, focus up.
I was gonna say a little later than what we're used to recording, but you know what? We had a good conversation with some of our favorite folks. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Dane, do what you do. Tell the folks what we're sipping on tonight in a segment we call "What You Drinking."
What you drinking?
Well, first and foremost, Sean, do you have cornhole questions? Well, guess what? You can find your answer at cornholesolutions.com. You need some boards, some bags, and pitch mats. He's got a whole bunch of shit on the website. Go check out cornholesolutions.com and get yourself some. Let's go. And this beer tonight.
We've already gone through a lot.
We've finished the sixer already. We're on to the second one, but it's kind of a privilege because I walked into a brewery and I was gifted beers just talking about our podcast. So this is local brewery to us, Working Class Brew. We've actually reviewed a couple of their beers in the past, but these are their two new. Sean, if you could shout out the hazy one, but these are their two new IPAs that they added to the list. So first and foremost, I'm sipping on the Aviator. It's just a classic IPA, 7.5%. It is a banger of a beer. Working Class is proudly owned by a couple of former steelworkers here in Cleveland, and they decided to rip up a brewery. And man, they do some of the best IPAs around. I mean, their whole menu is virtually 5 IPAs and a stout.
The can labels are
great.
Awesome.
Yes, they're very cool looking cans. Sean's also sipping on the hazy
this is
here.
I'm not anymore.
Oh,
this is the first 6-pack
now.
that we ripped through was the Minuteman Hazy IPA. Really good hazy IPAs. Hazy IPAs are right up there with my favorite beers. 6.3 alcohol by volume. Smooth, easily. I mean, obviously we ripped through a 6-pack already. We're almost done with this one actually. But yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, I have nothing. I would give me a 6-pack of these any day of the week.
Straight up. So thank you again to Rick. You gifted me these beers, and I greatly appreciate it. And
we're enjoying them.
Yeah, they're gonna get the job done.
Work's gonna suck.
I was
tomorrow.
hoping to have a leftover 6-pack after this.
Nope.
It's not gonna happen.
Nope.
So, all right. Well, guys, guess what? We're planning for some more audio gold, right, Shawnee?
We are. Cornhole family. Shocking, I know, but we have more audio gold planned for you all today. We're going to recap the second ACL Open event. We're going to chat about some bags, okay? Some bags to review, obviously, as we always do. We have local bags, the newest local bags up on the docket. They're 3 newest series. So we've reviewed several local bags in the past, but they have released 3 new carpet-type bags that we're going to be reviewing today. And then at the end of the episode, we're going to be joined by owner of Local Bags, Mr. Chris Meek, and ACL Pro Duo, Cody Henderson, and Adam Hissner. But before we jump into all that, we bring you what's going on in our cornhole lives in a segment we call In and Around the Hole.
Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Brought to you by Airwolf Athletics, helping athletes become the alpha in all aspects of life. Stop by airwolfathletics.com to check out all their amazing products. Become the alpha and join the pack today. Visit airwolfathletics.com and use code BIGASP to save 10%. At this point in your cornhole life, if you haven't added a set of the sexiest bags around, you're doing something wrong. That's right, folks. Blackjack Cornhole Bags. You get free shipping, amazing customer service. It's a no-brainer. All right, so stop what you're doing. Literally, stop right now. Go to visit blackjackcornhole.com, use code BIGASP, and save yourself 10%. All right, so did you get to throw it all this week?
The only throwing I got to do was these bags to check them out. I had to have another fill-in, again, for Me for League because I had the privilege of going to watch the Browns B squad kick some ass on Thursday Night Football.
Yeah. Yep.
Damn
Beat,
straight.
the Broncos. It's always nice being Denver because we have a little history against Denver.
I mean, it's not.
Fuck
It's not. I mean, it is still John Elway's Denver,
Yeah.
but not the John Elway of old's Denver. So.
Old horse face. Old horse face. Same with you. I threw minimally this week. I knew that we had these bags up for review, so I threw the 3 new bags just to kind of get a good feel, just kind of remind myself. Other than that, I fucked up my back on Saturday.
Yes, you did.
It's starting to feel better now.
You able to bring that couch up today?
Not today.
Oh, damn you.
Maybe tomorrow. It's starting to feel better. It's been shit weather. It's gotten cold here. It's been raining. I fucking hate this time of the year because I know for the next 5 months there's really minimal time to throw outside. So that means I only have like 2 days a week I can really throw. So it's before and after work on Wednesday and Thursday. Gonna try to throw Thursday. Luckily, not luckily, but my wife and kids are going out of town. Going to Pittsburgh. That came out wrong.
It came right off the tongue.
So I'll be able to. I'm going to swing by the Cleveland Cornhole League at least. Hit up some of their open boards and throw a little bit just to kind of.
Then maybe you'll. I think I'm going to convince him to commentate me and Eric Anderson's matches.
I think so. Why not? I have nothing else to do.
I hope to God he stands at my end each time, so I just hear him shitting on me the whole time.
Oh, I'm going to 100%.
And I will. It'll not make me better. Guaranteed.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and go over the ACL Open. It was the second ACL Open of the year. It was held in South Dakota. So let's start with singles, man. Tony Smith was the overall champion. Threw really well. He's starting to round out. Just coming into he's really looking like a top pro player now, which is nice to see.
I mean, he was just hitting roll after roll.
I'm working on my top 10 rankings.
Crazy,
Tony Smith, after watching him this weekend, he probably belongs there. I think really after watching him and
I mean it was a nasty performance.
Yeah, he just looked like and he beat another top tier pro, Stormhog, who took second overall. Tony Smith just looks like he's comfortable now. Once he gets used to the board conditions. Now he was throwing a different bag this weekend. He's signed by Contraband, but he was actually throwing zero gravity Neptune bags this week.
Yeah.
They seem to work very well for him.
Was he? Because he was throwing with Cobb in doubles,
Correct.
right? So I think that's maybe he was just feeling that for the singles still. But
Correct.
Yeah, I mean he was nasty with that bag and
Storm had a nice showing. I mean, anytime you win a bracket in one of those open events is very solid.
He's a silently great player.
He's getting better.
Not many people know the name, but man, after watching, maybe not the finals, but everything up until that point, man, he is very, very steady and he can hit some big shots. Storm
beat in the semifinals to go to the finals against Tony. He beat another ACL pro, Nate Voyer, who tied for third place. Nate, I watched a bunch of his matches this weekend, was throwing really, really well. He throws a cat bag, a little slicker bag. He's throwing very, very well. Storm really just did a nice job controlling the tempo early on. Jumped out to a really big lead. Nate, to his credit, battled back, made it a little bit interesting, but Storm being kind of the... I would consider him upper middle tier.
Grizzle ACL veteran.
Not you know what I mean. But he's not. I wouldn't consider him a top tier pro yet. But he's kind of like that upper middle tier.
I mean, to me, he's in that 35 to 15 range where he could finish.
So
anywhere in
he
there.
didn't really have strong singles finishes last year.
Yeah.
But him
he
and
has that
Jimmy
potential.
Humans did very well in doubles. So it was nice to see him being able to step away from doubles and show his true potential. So. But shout out to Nate Voyer, California dude, threw really, really well. I saw it was he posted on Facebook or something after he won his bracket. His 6-year-old said something about you got when he got the king seat or something. It was really funny. So I like seeing stuff like that. So Nate threw really well. But to me, this whole weekend was about young studs. There was a dude named Brennan Ballard. I don't know how old he is. He can't be more than 15, 16 years old. The dude just can sling. He was throwing, I think he was throwing Kangas, and the kid's really good, man. Really, really good. He just happened to run into a red hot Tony Smith, and Tony Smith was just doing his stuff better than what Ballard was.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it's the
Brennan,
it's the
you
way
won your
of
bracket in an ACL Open event. Hats off to you for. Young gun performance, very, very nicely done.
Yeah, it's the way the ACL's going, man. The young guns, man.
Another notable performance, another young dude, Ethan Walker. A name not familiar with. I've never heard of him before. I had reached out to Trey Ryder saying, was he even on your radar? He said no. This dude came out of nowhere, took second in his bracket, had a really nice run. But the one that I thought you can argue had the best overall weekend was Peyton Mares. He is an ACL pro. He was one of the juniors that was elected in there. He made a statement this weekend showing, like, there's a lot of other junior players that are getting a lot of noise, right? So you have Bella, you have Alex Hicks. Peyton, if he can stay level-headed, he still seems a little bit immature. The kid has all the shots. He plays a really nice, dirty, messy game. He likes to put a blocker up and roll over stuff. He was really accurate with it. In singles, he lost his cool a little bit when he was kind of facing a little bit of adversity if he learns to kind of rein that in a little bit, but he's so young. I think, again, he's like 15 years old, but the kid's he's going to be a stud. So know the name now because it's not going to be the last time you hear it. But the reason I bring him up is because he actually won doubles with his partner Cody Costanza.
Costanza, any relation to George?
So they had a great showing in doubles. Going back to singles though, other notable performances. You have Johnny Cox out of the KC region. He had a solid weekend. Who also placed second in his bracket, and he took second actually in doubles with John Fuentes. Mm-hmm. Johnny Cox, best mustache in the game.
Possibly.
Right there. I mean, it's pretty close.
Possibly.
I respect it. I mean, I respect the kind of swag he brought. You have Frank Modlin and then Raul Chavez, who tied third in the bracket. Jamie Sanchez took fourth. We had mentioned Jamie and Raul before they kind of burst onto the scene when they won the Open event. I think it was, I want to say maybe it was Houston last year.
Yeah.
They burst on the scene, but we had mentioned them before as a team to kind of watch to see if they made the pro ranks. They're ACL pros this year. They had very solid showings in singles, not as well in doubles, but be familiar with the names. They're Buffalo board sponsored players. Raul Chavez, Jamie Sanchez. Again, be familiar with that name. Their names. They're going to be a popular team.
Yeah, I mean, I see them all over social media. They seem to win a lot of tournaments. So.
Frank Modlin tying for third.
Dude, he's throwing some great bags, man.
Yeah, he seems like he's really rounding into form. So going into this season, playing with Austin, I think Frank's going to find himself near the top of the podium in a lot of events.
Hell yeah. Well, you alluded to the double, so Victor's Peyton Maris and his partner Kobe Costanza, first overall. They looked great. I mean, they kind of you alluded to it in your writing here. Like, I was impressed. Like you said, Maris has the roll and flop, very nice. But dude, Costanza's game with his he's got the power game. It kind of reminds me of our later guests that we had.
He's a big
on.
dude, you know what I mean? But he also showed a little finesse. He threw the blocker very well when he needed to. He really liked. There's several times where you could see he would throw the first bag block, the second bag was just trying to really kind of bunch everything up, and he would clean it up with either a big push or an airmail drag. Just played really solid and consistent all weekend. Listen, anytime you can go through a gauntlet like that, where through rounders and you're making it in tier 1 alone in doubles, is very impressive.
Yeah.
But then to follow it up and beat some other top quality teams, those two played very, very well together. They had nice chemistry.
Well, I think they're you could visibly see that their style of game frustrated their opponent when they were facing them in the finals. Because I don't think Fuentes or Cox ever really looked super comfortable in that match.
No.
But all in all, hats off to them. They played a hell of a match. Mentioned Tyler Cobb, Tony Smith finishing third. Cobb maybe didn't play his best match.
I think listen, if you had him truth serum, ask him how did you play, I think he would even admit he wasn't at his best that weekend. But I mean, listen, he's still I've been a huge Tyler Cobb fan since before anyone really knew who he was going into last year. He's still a top level pro in my mind, so he still performed very well, and I mean tied third is not a bad day.
Then we had Morton and Modlin. They took fourth.
I like that pairing, man.
Yeah, we mentioned it in the past, and then we also alluded to Morton's trajectory kind of changing. It seems like he's getting more lofty with it again. And
I think I think he's settling in. What I mean by settling in, I think that if you watch him play,
I mean, he's not changing it as often as he was before.
I think he's actually throwing a lower trajectory now.
Yeah.
When last year, I felt like he was just trying to force showing everyone, hey, I can throw a cut shot. I can look at all these these fancy shots I can do.
Yeah. I mean,
to me, he was more consistent with them, and he used them when he should have used it. He was playing smart again. Matthew Morton has the skill and has the talent to be a top level pro. Can he put it all together again? Now that everybody else, now that the ACL is so competitive, is he going to be a perennial like top 30 pro? I hope so. I think he's good for the game, but like again, he has to play smart. And with that, he's gone away from a little bit of the strictly like, hey, I'm going to go for broke every airmail. He's being a little bit more selective of it. And I'm sure Mike Morton has all these stats, you know what I mean, breaking it down of exactly how many times he shoots an airmail compared to everyone else. I'm sure it's still a higher percentage, but to me, he's playing a little bit smarter. He's only, you know, instead of giving up 3, maybe he'll give up 1. He'll be smarter. Stay in the match a little bit longer, wait for your opportunities, seize those opportunities, and then take advantage.
I mean, I'm also thinking, like, I watched some of their matches, and I don't know if you noticed, but I saw more tiptoes out of Morton, which is what more indicative of 2019 Morton, where he was kind of getting more of that touch to it. And even though he's throwing a little bit lower trajectory, I felt like last season he was trying to go more power, like you're alluding to with like the cut shots and stuff. And to me, it just kind of looked like he was more settling on having that touch and getting that game back down to, I could still throw a blocker with a game changer slick side down, but guess what? Like half of it's hanging in the hole. Good luck not putting it in yourself. If you don't, then I'm going to put it in. Yeah. And that's kind of the game that I want to see him play, which is just half hanging in the hole, make you think about it. And like once he gets that back down, I think he's going to start turning into a powerhouse again.
And when I first heard his pro partner for this year, Ian Cripps, I thought it was an odd pairing, but the more I think about it, and when I watch them play, I think at the first Open, they're having fun playing. And when you're a young player, like sometimes that's really important. You know what I mean? Finding that love of the game and why you first started playing. So I think if Morton starts having fun, hones in all these shots that he's kind of added to his arsenal, and just is a little bit more selective on when to throw them, I think the sky's the limit for him.
I agree. Yeah.
All right.
This is that magical time.
Yeah, let's move on to the bag review, man.
Bag review. I mean,
okay, so we have some big news here.
We do. So
big news.
Let's start it off. So, biggest news of the year is that, second biggest because we have
first of all,
first new sponsor.
Before we really, so it was Cornhole Solutions.
Yeah.
So this one is near and dear to our heart because
it is.
We can't say enough about. Dane's gonna kind of do like a live read here, but we've become good friends with Chris Meek over the last 2 years, specifically this last year. We love what he stands for. We like being sponsored by brands that we know that the quality is there and that it's something that we feel like whether or not we had a podcast we would go back to them, and we want to be sponsored by people that we like and we enjoy spending time with. To me that just sums up local, man.
So all I have to ask you, Sean, is where do we all start playing cornhole?
Where?
Sitting in our backyards with some buddies, having some beers, throwing locally.
Local living.
Well, guess what? Local Bags is coming on strong with us, and we are happy to have them on as a sponsor. If you're, as much as anyone else in this world, you start playing locally around you, and he has stuck true to that form. And can't say enough about his bags. The whole lineup's nasty. You're going to hear about the next 3 that we have up. So Chris Meek, thank you for coming on as a sponsor. And obviously this bag review is brought to you by Local Bags. So
it is.
Buy local, and let's get after it.
Let's get it done. Okay, so let's go ahead and... Do you want to start with the 2 that are similar and then go to Hustler, or do you want to start with Hustler?
Yeah, we can start with these 2 that are closer together.
I guess I'll start with the Challenger.
Yeah, go for it.
Here. So the next 2 that we're going to review, all right, the first one we're going to do is the Challenger. So he added 3 new bags to his lineup. The only thing that the Local Bags lineup was really missing going into last year was like a tried and true carpet bag. Mm-hmm. He had tried another carpet bag. I'm blanking out on the name.
Oh god, so am I.
Start with an R, maybe? No?
It wasn't the Revolution. It's the I can't remember. But anyways,
moving on. So this is the Challenger. The carpet side is going to be very familiar. It's the same carpet that is on, Zero Gravity Neptune. It's on Baghdaddy Crossover. It is on the contraband, whatever the fuck their carpet bag is. It's a common carpet because we know the performance factor on it.
Yeah.
All right, it plays like a true 4, but the slick side, all right, is kind of like a game changer slick. So we're gonna say like a 4 on the slow, 9, 10. Let's call it a 9, okay? Just because 10's kind of tough. 9 on the slick side. We know that with that game changer type fabric, the bag becomes super, super hole forgiving. The beautiful part about this type of carpet is that it basically, when you get it, it's already broken in.
Yep.
You don't have to do a lot of work to break this bag in. Now, the one feature that Local Bag offers, which I absolutely love, and I highly recommend everyone do that if you purchase a bag from Local Bag, is getting their pro treatment. Let them break in the bags for you.
Damn
they
straight.
come in melty, ready to go, the perfect plane.
You can bring them to league that day,
literally right out of the
like,
bag.
Seriously, it's legit.
But again, the one agreement I made with Chris before we were going to review his bags and then announce sponsorship was, he said, I don't want any cupcake bullshit. I want you guys to be honest. I want your guys' honest opinion.
Damn straight.
I'm not a carpet guy. I said that last week.
Yeah,
like I'm just
swear
not.
Off of it.
I'm swearing off it. This is, if I'm going to throw any type of carpet, this is one of the types that I
This is
do
in your
prefer.
wheelhouse.
I prefer this a little bit. It doesn't tend to kick quite as much.
A little more forgiving with that game changer side
Correct.
on it.
And I know that I can flip this over, and this is going to be right up there with the most hole forgiving. It honestly reminds me a little bit, fill and floppiness wise, of how we describe the Neptune bag from Zero Gravity. Now the slick side is different. It's
I don't
much
think this
faster.
is quite as full.
It's
as
not
the
quite as
Neptune.
full, but the fill is somewhat similar.
Yeah, a little bit smaller fill.
Now,
in it.
in this particular bag, he has what he calls the Pro Blend resin. Now, this is going to be one of the things we're going to talk about, is that he actually changed his blend up for several of the series of bags. Now, the one nice thing about with this bag is he added the Pro Blend resin, which is still the smaller fill, but it's a non-universal fill. So if you're new to the game and you're like, why the hell would that matter? When you have a universal smaller fill, and they tend to all be rounder type beads, you're gonna get a lot of like a bounce effect. All right, it goes down
so
the
much more reactionary than
it does. You're gonna get a lot of bouncing and hopping, and now this bag can still do that, but this is gonna be more of a true bag. Like
it'll do it when you mean it to.
Correct.
That's
you're not gonna get those awkward bouncing type shots. Overall, again, speed of the bag I think is smart. If you're looking to compare it to anything out there, I mean, I'm trying to think if there's another bag that uses these two exact materials. Now the next bag we know is very similar to another one.
Yeah,
but
this
using
one,
these two,
this might be closer to like the crossover 2.
Yeah, like the 2.0
yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah, so it's similar, but again, very hole forgiving out of the bag, out of the box. I mean, it was a solid bag.
Yeah, I'm a fan. I mean,
design score. Now with his standard design, it's similar to like a Reynolds, right?
Yeah.
Where it's simple. Sometimes you don't need a whole lot to make a bag look beautiful, because I love the font that they use for Local. Mm-hmm. And again, this is not just because we're sponsored by Local Bags.
You can go back to before we were sponsored by
Correct.
them. You'll see.
I love the logo.
Big fans.
If I'm going design score, I like the color scheme, the green and the black. Design wise, I'll give it a 68.
Fair enough. I mean, I'm gonna go a little higher because I've always been a fan of the clean look, and this one for some reason the black carpet on the green with the black print.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of. So give me a 75. I really like the clean look on it.
Let's stick with you, performance wise.
Performance wise, I mean, this bag, it wasn't my favorite of the 3 that we're going, but it's, I mean, they're all very close, honestly. But I'm gonna give me an 83 on this one.
Okay, and that's right up there with most of your carpet bags, like right in that range. Again, I love the Local bags. I like their fill and everything. This is not exactly the first bag that I'm gonna select out of their lineup. There's probably 3-4 other bags I'm gonna select out of their lineup. With that being said, I'm gonna give it a 70. I still like it. I wouldn't be mad if you decided like, hey, this is a good mat for me and you to throw in doubles.
For us two to throw, like it's not gonna kick as much as like your regular like normal carpet bag because of that. 2 factors. One, the fast side is that game changer-esque type feel, so it's very forgiving, so doesn't give you as much play. And then 2, that fill. So I could see why you go in that 70 range. Next up, we got the local champion. So this is definitely more my wheelhouse.
Not a whole lot different to say. Same carpet.
Same style carpet on it, but the fast side is actually that like slide right type material.
So we're gonna go like a 4 and a 7.
Yeah, 4 and a 7 on it. But again, like this just naturally feels a little fuller because of the fast side. Mm-hmm. For some reason, that game changer material makes that bag just feel a little bit floppier right out the gate. I mean, this is still a very floppy bag right out of the get-go, but it got a little bit more rigidity to it. So this is the bag that if you want to throw that hard cut, if you want to throw that roll shot, this is going to be a little bit better and easier to do it with. Not to say that it's easy to do to begin with, but if you're starting to throw that kind of bag, this will be able to do it to you. But on the flip side, if you're an aggressive thrower who likes to throw it low, but you get those weird kicks, the non-universal fill is going to help you with that a little bit. So it's not going to kick nearly as much as a regular bag would. So which I do actually kind of like. So when I was trying to throw like a roll bag, it was rolling, and then when I was just throwing flat shots, it was going flat. And I mean, it's well documented that my flat bag, a lot of times maybe it doesn't come out that flat because I get lazy, and but this one kind of stayed pretty damn true for me. All in all, this is my favorite of the three that were the new ones coming out. Again, I think you kind of have to be a high skilled thrower with carpet to be very successful with this bag. But I think that's kind of what a lot of people are alluding to in the game nowadays. So
if you're looking for a carpet bag and you like, let's say, like you're looking for something different than like a BG Viking, right? You want something different than like a Pro Advantage. This is going to be more in your wheelhouse. Mm-hmm. The one thing I didn't mention about the last bag that is very clear, especially on these two carpet bags, is just the overall professional quality of it. Mm-hmm. Local Bags has some of the smallest closing seams I've ever seen. I mean, and I know a lot of people don't like. You're like, well, why does that matter? It just means that like the craftsmanship and that you're so secure around the edges that you're not worrying about anything busting. And this is some of the cleanest seams around the edges.
If you're a bag like collector, if you have more than 20 sets of bags at your house and you don't have a local set, you're doing yourself a disservice because it's true. Bags craftsmanship on these, honestly, you can't go wrong with them. I know it sounds like we're gushing over a sponsor, but last time we had them on, we were gushing on them as well. So, what do you got for? Let's go design score on that bad
design
boy.
Score. I'm gonna go a little bit less. Like I kind of agreed with you before. I think the green with the black and the black carpet popped.
Yeah, it popped.
This is more of a green with just like the white logo. If I didn't like the logo, I mean, I would be putting it pretty low, but I do love their logo, so I'm gonna go a 60.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right there with you. I'll go.
They're not a flashy
62.
bag though. That's not what they're going for with this.
But like, it's gonna stick out on a board just because the color green that they chose is not used very commonly amongst other.
And last time I checked, it doesn't matter what the bag looks like if it goes in the hole.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And but yeah, I mean, I'm gonna go 62 on it. Like you said. It doesn't pop quite as much as the black with it, but again, I still love their logo. It's a good looking bag.
Performance wise, I'm gonna go again a little bit lower. It's a little slow for my liking. I like the slide right material. All right, it's some of my favorite. Like I like that if this is like the slow side of a bag.
Yeah.
I could flip it over, yes, but I just tend to think that these bags are a little bit slow for my liking. So I'm gonna go a little bit lower. I'm gonna go like a 63.
Okay. I mean, for me, like I said, I like it a little bit more than the Challenger. It's a little more true to a carpet bag that I'm used to throwing. So, give me an 86 on that.
Okay.
Slightly higher. But yeah, I think the last one might be your favorite of the new three.
Yeah, it was.
It's a beautiful bag.
So the next bag we're talking about is called the Hustler X. This is, if you order this bag and you get it out, and you're going to see the carpet material. It's going to look somewhat familiar if you're familiar with a few of the other bags out there right now. This is the same slow side as like what's on the BG Wizard or the Warlock. Slicks. So like, let's say like a 4.5. Maybe it can play up to a 5 depending on board conditions. Slick side is like that Viper material, which is my favorite. Slick side plays like a 9. This is definitely more in my wheelhouse. For a carpet bag, this slides a lot nicer. Now, I will say, this set of bags that we have, he decided not to keep. He decided not to put the Pro Blend resin in it. I actually kind of like it.
Yeah,
it
I
adds
agree.
a little bit more because naturally this carpet is going to slide a little bit more and it's not going to cut. So you're still giving some of that extra action movement. Now I don't flop and roll a bag, but I can still cut the bag a little bit left to right, right to left, variable
Yeah,
depending
a
on
little
what I'm doing. I like the fill. It's super fucking drippy right off the bat.
That it is.
I mean this bag just wants to melt in the hole. As you break the if you've played with BG Wizard or a Warlock before, the carpet when you first get it, it feels a little rough, but as you start to play on it, it softens up very quick.
I think when you first get these, like I'm feeling it. I'm almost wondering if I think Chris might have used like a backing on the slow side, compared to like what the Wizard and Warlock are, but to me, it's gonna break in and almost keep the bag's integrity in place because I've heard stories of beads popping out of that fabric sometimes. I think it's kind of smart to have a backing on it. I mean, I'm just feeling it. Like it looks the same, but it has it's a little bit thicker.
It is.
But you know what? I think he might have had a backing put in on that, which is very smart because you can get it the pro work in, but I mean nothing's gonna do it more than just throwing the bag to your liking. Once this bag gets to that spot, I mean I think you have the longevity that maybe you might not get with a Wizard or Warlock because we just know that beads start popping out of that fabric after some time. This backing might actually help that out.
All 3 bags have a similar template, more of a rounded template than I would call it square.
Yeah,
the edges are very rounded,
but it still has they're not corners, but
correct.
They're still there enough to grab.
Correct. Again, I like this bag. I like the design we got. We got the black and white set.
Yes.
Sexy gray carpet
Clean
on the
as
back.
fuck.
It just looks nice. The local logo with the Hustler X right below it. I really like this look. I'm a sucker for black and white bags or white and black bags.
I mean
they just
you
always
don't
turn
see
out
them anywhere, and they look so clean.
If you ever see most of my anything I get from blackjack cornhole, I'm a sucker for the black and white. I love the look on a bag. These bags I really like the design. This one I'm gonna go a little higher. I'm gonna go an 85.
Yeah, I mean for me, I think it actually might be my favorite of the 3, just because it is so clean looking. Yeah, I'm gonna go with give me an 83.
Now we're going to design score, or performance score. Again, I'm not a huge carpet guy. To me, this plays is more of a hybrid carpet. It's not a tried and true carpet bag necessarily because it does play a little bit quicker. It doesn't tend to stop on a dime and kick unnecessarily unless you really want it to. So for taking that into account, I'm going to give this a little bit of higher score for myself. I'm going to give this a 75. If you're going to say, hey, pick a carpet bag from local to throw, for me, a guy that likes typically a faster bag, a 75, this is going to be the bag that I would grab first.
Yeah. I mean, I think 75 for you, I mean, to me, I can't really consider it carpet because I don't see that as much as a carpet bag, but it is a little fast for my liking, but I can get used to it. I'm actually going to go above you on that score, and I'm going to give it a 77.
Okay.
Because it's to me it's right in that speed realm of the the surefire craze and everything, and obviously that's right where the Warlock and stuff is at. So yeah, I mean once you can get that fully broken in, I think it's going to be very, very popular.
So again, if you're looking for any bags, local bags, now that they have these 3 carpet varieties, they really have a bag for all types of throwers.
Yeah, and we have obviously more than 3 sets of bags in front of us. We reviewed all of these bags in previous episodes.
Just a quick reminder, the local legend bag, If you're watching on YouTube, this last bag here, this would be comparable to like a slide right type bag. You have the Demon,
No,
which
all slide.
I'm sorry, all slide. Yes. You have the Demon, which is Cody Henderson's bag of choice. It is like a linen type bag with like that slide right type. So again,
it could play like a 5 and 7, or it could play like a
6 and 7.
6 and 7. It could play like a 3 and 7, but
really depends.
Yeah.
My favorite out of the bunch was the local Outlaw. It plays like kind of like a 6 up to a 7 on the slow side, and then the slick side you have like that Game Changer, so it's like a 9 and a half. Super hole forgiving. I like that they changed the Pro Blend resin in this. It used to have the all universal fill, and sometimes when I'm playing with a fast bag, I don't want it to do anything. I just want it to land flat and go straight. And again, when you do the non-universal fill, you change the shape a little bit. It tends the bag to like not react quite as much. And then what other else? And then I think that's all of them, right?
Yeah. I mean, this is another set of demons here. But,
and then if you're like an old school, you're looking for something old school, stick and slick. The local 450 still to this day is our favorite.
I will forever have that bag in my bags board bag.
It is our favorite stick and slick, true suede and like stick and slick bag.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for something you want to go back and just fuck somebody's world up on the board, store blockers all day, and mess it up, grab yourself a local 450s. The yellow that they have is the best. It's the sharpest looking bag.
Dude, there's not another bag on the market that like you'll ever have to worry about having to change bags for, because it is so bright,
correct,
and clean.
Yep.
I love that color.
It's beautiful. It is beautiful. All right. Right. Whoa.
I got carried away.
You got really excited.
I got carried away.
All right, so that
cue
was
the rap horn.
Cue the rap horn. All right, so reach us at Instagram and Twitter at BigAsp Cornhole.
And Facebook at BigAsp Cornhole Podcast. Thanks again to our sponsors. Visit airwolfathletics.com for all your cornhole swag. Use code BigAsp for 10% off. And cornholesolutions.com to answer all of your cornhole questions. There's no code, so just go to cornholesolutions.com and get some boards.
BlackjackCornhole.com for the sexiest bags around. Code BigAsp can save you 10%. And our newest sponsor, we're proud to be brought to you by Local Bags. Visit localbags.com and grab your bags today. All right? Apple Podcast reviews. Keep dropping those reviews. Patches are on their way. I've been busy with work. I swear they're on their way. So if you send us out reviews and you send me a picture within the last week or two, they went out yesterday. Today's Tuesday, so they went out Monday. So you should be getting them this week. Be sure to check out harddragpush.com. I'm not gonna lie, I've been slacking a little bit. I've been busy with
it's off season of cornhole.
I promise I'm gonna get back to start writing some content. But yeah, go visit harddragpush.com.
Expect some new stuff next week.
Yeah, thanks. If you haven't checked it out yet, there's tons of blogs on there. I think we have 30, 40 written pieces by various people on there. Go check it out. There's a bunch of videos you can watch. We're going to be revamping the site here in the next week or two. I should have a lot of time this weekend, so I plan on pouring myself into that and getting it up to date. And, yeah, that's about it.
Hell yeah, brother.
Make sure you stay tuned, as we're going to be joined by the Local Bags crew, Mr. Chris Meek, and ACL pros, Cody Henderson and Adam Hissner.
I mean, can enough be said about those two? I mean...
Listen, if you've listened to the show before and you've listened to the Cody Henderson interview, which was our longest interview, this is not as long of an interview, but he might be it's hard to say this because I love so many of you guys out there that I've interviewed. He might be my favorite guy to interview, and the reason we're recording later than we normally do is because we ended up staying on with him for another hour.
I think he said,
I wish
we
would have recorded what we were just shooting the shit, because we both literally hung up with Cody. We looked at ourselves like that was another podcast episode.
Yeah, I
like
mean,
just so like the guy is well spoken. He is informative.
I feel like it also helps that I feel like we're on like the same wavelength when it comes to like the cornhole world as him. So but yeah, I mean, stay tuned to the episode. I mean, we have Chris Meek, like you said, Cody and Adam. It's a good interview. Like, stay tuned, and I'm sure we'll have him on again soon.
Yep. Well, as always, we hope you throw it straight, And it's nothing but 4-baggers from here on out.
Cornhole it.
Later. Welcome back to the BigAsp Cornhole podcast, where we are now joined by the Local Bags crew. All right, we got Chris Meek, the master himself. We got Cody, and we got Adam. What's going on, guys?
Oh,
How you doing? Well, man.
All right. Hey, Cody and Adam, how long have you guys been partners for?
a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't realize it was going to be so basic. I feel like we covered this last time we talked. Like, this is all the basic questions. But I guess 2013.
Okay.
So, 7-8 years. It's been 7 years for the last 7 years.
And you're still together. That's kind of impressive.
Well, I mean, right now. I mean, that could change tomorrow. We
gotcha.
haven't decided yet.
Adam, how did you first get into the game? Like, how long have you been? I mean, you're kind of like you're a little bit of an OG into the game.
I've probably been playing for about 12 years.
Okay. How'd you first get your start?
Blind draw at like a local bar.
And were you just instantly just amazing at it, and you were just running shit?
I actually was a stepper before, but then I took that away. But I wasn't too bad.
I don't know. I think Cody disagrees with you, shaking his head. So we'll just let the
we got
listeners
beat
decide.
21-0 the first time.
So let me ask you guys. So there are like few teams or individuals that you see that like you automatically think of like a certain brand. And I think if you took a poll of like the cornhole community, like 99% of them would say Local Bags is the first brand that comes when they think of like Hissner, Henderson. Why Local Bags?
I mean, that's really what we started with. When the ACL first formed, like there really weren't bag companies around. I mean, I know BG made bags prior, Reynolds made bags prior, but there really weren't manufacturers out there. And as the ACL started to gain ground and look like they had some potential, and that was the whole reason why we joined the ACL to begin with, manufacturers really started to take it seriously. I think a lot of them started out as a hobby, and when Chris kind of reached out to us, it was just kind of attractive to us, to be wanted and get some minor offers and have some travel expenses paid in the very, very early days. And that was something that was kind of unheard of for cornhole and for sponsors. And it's fun to work with Chris. Like, he kind of lets us do our own thing. He doesn't sit and micromanage us a lot. He doesn't ask a lot. It's beneficial for us. We're able to do what we want to do, play the way we want to play. We don't get a lot of pushback on our styles or our takes on certain situations and how we're gonna go about things. And it's it's a positive experience all around. And I feel like it's a pretty good fit.
Is that why you guys have continued to stick with Local Bags? I mean, obviously you guys have had success since the early days of the ACL. There has to be, I mean, is that the most attractive part? Is that personality wise, you guys just kind of seem to click with Chris and how he kind of runs things?
Yeah, I mean, sure. Like, I mean, all of that definitely. And like, Chris understands that this is a business. He understands that, we're signing 1-year agreements. We're signing season agreements. Like, we made it pretty clear that we have no interest in extending anything further out. And I don't think he has any interest in extending anything further out. And I don't think any bag manufacturer really, I mean, the only thing we've heard of prior from that is potentially like Fires deals. We heard Matt and Jamie got like a couple year deal, but that's outside of that. It's all limited, and it's because of the growth of the game. Just, you don't know what's going to happen, and it could be exponential, and nobody wants to lose out, whether it be a player or a manufacturer. So everybody's really keeping that in mind. But yeah, like, Chris has been really cool to work with. We're able to, on the off season, reevaluate what we think that is the best route for us and the value that we feel like we bring to the table. And this next season, like, we were met with where we wanted to be. And yeah, working with him is great. It's really smooth. I feel like we get along really well.
Now, how much of a part of like the bag development process are you guys pretty involved in that? Do you guys give a lot of input? How many bags are you guys testing out before a season? You're smiling, so there has to be something into this. Do you guys enjoy that process? Is something that you guys you like to be hands off, or you want to be real involved and throw a bag that you feel 100% comfortable with?
I was gonna let him take it if he wanted to, but I think that
I'll let you take that one.
okay, that's fine. Yeah, no, I think in the very beginning that was one of the most attractive things, and it was that was one of the first things Chris talked about was like we can make a bag specific to how you play, and then we can call that like you can have your model, and it can be that. And every single season going in, like we've been able to really work with a lot of the new materials that he's getting in and talk about things that we like and don't like. And there's been a lot of flexibility there. It's obviously it's going to be hard to be directly involved in research and development and stuff like that. Just being not we don't work at the shop. Like we're players. We play. We're going to get stuff sent to us. We're going to throw it. We're either going to say we don't like it, or we do like it, or this is what we do like and this is what we don't like. Can we do some tweaks around that? But there's not a lot of instantaneous changes happening around stuff like that, but we're able to find stuff we like that way. So I do think that there's like a little bit of that. It's just going to be hard when we're not right there. We're not right at his shop able to mix and match and test things out and see what we like and get 10,000 reps in a day. Like we're still not there as far as cornholes just the game is right now. So I think that there's potential with that in the future. But yeah, like definitely some tweaks and whatnot throughout the off season and everything to prepare. But yeah, like there's a little bit of it.
So you said there's potential there. How close do you guys think that we are to getting to that point where a good, let's say maybe the top 100 ACL pros can make a living doing this? I mean, do you guys think that's in the next 5 years? Do you think it's closer than that?
100's a lot. I mean, I think they
Now,
did.
I'm not talking about the 19-year-olds that can travel the country. They have no bills to pay, all that stuff. I'm talking about you have a family to support. You got to bring your primary breadwinner.
I mean, yeah, Adam's right. Like that is a big difference. But 100 is a lot, and I think that they did announce like what the player takes of prize pools if were for this last year, at least the top 5.
Yeah.
Like Adam cleared whatever 20 or whatever it was for that singles championship, and he didn't even crack top 5, which is great to see. Like it just shows that there's a lot more money in it this year than there has been in prior years. I think maybe Eric was leading at 40 something. That's great. I think that's a lot of money. But like we talked about when I was on here last time, and I told no when I thought like, will there be however many pros in like the next 2 years or 3 years or whatever. I don't think that people are considering how much expenses are within that $40,000. Like if you're having to go to 20 events throughout the year, and 20 of them are long drives or flights, and then you have hotels, and then you have transportation costs, and you have just expenses like food and all of that stuff. It really eats into a lot of that, and you're going to be taxed for it. You're going to be taxed for your fair share on top of that after your expenses. So I think that there's a ways to go. There's potential with ACL, like they brought on Bacardi for the Open Series, which is great. I'm sure that as we get more sponsors within the league, there will be more trust, I guess, to the players, and you'll have people reaching out to players individually to represent and do things outside of just playing cornhole to represent those brands that will bring in money. Because I feel like that's probably where the living's really going to be, is outside deals, not exactly player prize spots. But I know that like manufacturers are doing really well for supporting the players, especially the top players. They're good. We hear whispers about really good deals. It's definitely a positive. We're moving in the right direction. It's hard to say where we're going to be in 5 years, honestly. We could be in the same realm of like the disc golf guy who got 10 million, on a deal, on just a sponsorship deal, which is like how much more than whatever his earnings over his lifetime was, like a 20x multiple or something like that, something ridiculous. So, I mean, it's really hard to say, but I think that we are moving in the right direction. I think that it's a ride that everyone's hoping that they can stay on the top for as long as they can, so they can be around for when the money's there to be taken.
Chris, I think you have an opportunity to help these boys out with the travel side. If you just retrofit your badass trailer with a couple of bunk beds in there, boom, man. No more hotels. You could drive them around. They could just crash in the back of that thing. I mean, I think it's a good thought.
We're hoping for a bus one day.
There we go. That would be pretty sweet.
Just like a classic school bus, right? Like no cover.
Well, you know, something a little nicer than that. You gotta get, you know, it's got to be kind of nice for Cody to get into it, or he ain't gonna come.
A little bougie. Adam, let me ask you something. So, so kind of two questions. So obviously, Cody had hinted at like the prize pool, if you win, right? That's great. That should be like kind of extra money to me. But the main thing has got to be like the outside, like the sponsorship money. Do you think it's important for players to like kind of self-market themselves and to kind of promote themselves as players?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, a lot of us don't have a lot of time like that. We have actual jobs, just like Cody said about the younger kids. I mean, it's easier for them because I mean they got time on their hands. They can do what they want. I mean, eventually, I know a lot of players have management groups that do a lot of their social media and stuff like that. I think potentially it'll be there where a lot of that stuff we won't have. I mean, we'll be involved, obviously, but we won't have to per se do it every day. That's kind of my thing.
And the second part I was going to ask you, I don't know if you guys paid attention. So the last week, there was the second Open, right, in South Dakota. I mean, obviously it's not like the best destination in the world, but like there's still travel expenses, right, to get out to there. The overall winner in singles, Tony Smith, won $800. What do you guys think about that? Like, do you think that? I mean, obviously, I don't want you guys to put yourselves in a hard position here. Like, I get that. I'm not trying to get anyone in trouble, but like, is that where you guys want to see the money? Do you think the ACL should stop paying out as many places and maybe only pay out the top three? Like, is that a better solution?
I will say something that, you know, could be taken as controversial. I'll say that, but it's
Please.
not. Like it's really just, you know, for clarity. And I think that the ACL will be aware of this if they're not, just as the season goes on. There has to be more clarity up front about like what's going to be paid out to these tournaments. I know that this is something where when there haven't been sponsors at tournaments, you're waiting to see what the entries are going to be. You don't know who's going to show up. You don't know who's not going to show up. So you can't really guarantee a payout. Completely understandable. If the money's just set, then there's no reason why there can't be an announcement, you know, weeks prior to what the event's going to be. I guess like the controversial part would be like it's nice that Bacardi has come on. The Opens last year were very successful. I know that some of them were massive turnouts. I don't know relatively how much, whether they're more massive than what they are right now. It seemed like the first one was a pretty good turnout, and like we were seeing a little bit more money at those ones as well, without Bacardi. I think that, you know, we will get more clarity on just, you know, what's all being brought to the table. I think the pros do, you know, deserve that, but I don't feel like that's a hot take or anything like that.
No, I don't think so either. I mean, listen, just 2 weekends ago, Adam came down to our tournament. You know, first place took home $1,500. I mean, I mean, you could go, you know, less than an hour away from home and play in a tournament where if you win and you have a good chance of winning with, you know, lesser talent across the board, and you could take home that much money, or you could travel to South Dakota with the potential of maybe making 800. It just seems like it's not the best model.
And like it's one thing to throw out there too. Like we as players like don't know what Bacardi brought to the table. Like we don't know what I don't even know what the entry fees are going into the Opens right now. I have no idea. Like it could be nothing to play into them. So like there's a lot of factors like.
Cody's done here.
What was that?
So the Opens are based on entries. So realistically,
okay.
Open is considered an open tournament. It's not just for the pros. So I'm assuming the complaints that are coming out there, I mean, I haven't seen a lot of them, but it actually
I haven't seen any complaints.
There was a big thing on it. There was a lot of comments complaining about payouts. You got to consider the Opens is an open tournament. It's not just for pros. So the money that a lot of these people, even pros or non-pros that are going to these tournaments, yeah, it may be a pro that wins the tournament, really base off a payout on something like that when it's not really considered just a pro event, where possibly that's where a lot of the money from Bacardi or in general all the sponsors for the league are for.
Right.
Now, granted, a lot of the opens last year, I mean, we were seeing $3,000-$4,000 payouts, and I'm not sure if we're getting the same attendance at these that we did at the other ones. That's the only thing I'm not going to per se defend it, but I do know that the opens were always based on attendance, and it's possibly that they are paying out quite a few spots, but as a pro, you got to look at this as, I mean, yeah, there's a point value in this tournament, but not necessarily you can't put a number on, like I'm going to go to an open and that's going to be part of my salary for the season. I mean, you can't base it off of that when it's not an actual true pro event.
Yeah, and I mean, I think that for the majority here, it's just clarity for clarity's sake. I mean, it's not that anything's being done wrong or that there needs to be complaints or anything like that. I feel like the opens over the first two have been successful. I haven't went to either of them yet, and it's really just because of like work constraints, just like Adam was talking about. Like, you know, we have jobs. It's hard to get away every single weekend to get out and play, as much as we'd love to go out and play every single weekend at every single tournament, you know, regardless, because we're feeding for the competition. We want to win. But yeah, like I feel like for clarity's sake, just for all players, not just pros, just to know what we're heading into makes us more excited to play. I think that as the season goes on, we will see more of that as well. I mean, it's just as things get more certain across the board for the ACL, it's way easier for them to present that to us. But yeah, as far as you mentioned, like going to South Dakota for $800, yes, that's not very attractive. I think everyone can kind of agree on that unless you're relatively close. Now, if you're in a surrounding state, that's fine. And I mean, that's also not a shot. The people on the East Coast aren't going to go out to California for, you know, $1,000 when, you know, their flight's going to be $600. Obviously, regardless of what your deals are with outside sponsors, say you have whoever, you know, you have 5 sponsors and everybody's paying you money and you're getting paid to go out there on top of it. I mean, it's still a big expense. Now, if anything's relatively close, like we have Cincinnati coming up here in a week or so, absolutely we're going to hit Cincinnati and we're fired up about it. Like we can't wait to get there. It's going to be fun to get in there.
We're showing up. I know.
Yeah, you guys are showing up.
I know.
I'm sure there's some pros that'll be there and it'll be a great time. But yeah, I think overall it's a success. And not only that, the multiple levels is a huge positive note for the ACL. With COVID stepping in and kind of like putting a damper on everything, and a lot of stuff got ended, a lot of regionals weren't able to run over that time. Now you're having multiple levels, 2, 3, 4 levels or whatever at these opens. That's attractive for the players that, you know, ultimately want to be pro one day. Maybe not next year, maybe not the year before. I think it's good that they do have something to play for. I'm not saying that it all needs to be top heavy.
Yeah,
it doesn't. It needs to be, the opens need to be something that grows the game and grows the ACL. And I feel like what they're doing right now is actually doing that.
Well, I also think, like, to play off of Adam's point too with the opens, I know like Bacardi came on, but correct me if I'm wrong, Sean, but I think Bacardi's like the money's probably going towards the shootout, which are tied into the last like 5 opens, and then there's a couple others after.
I think so. I don't think that the ACL is like when they're talking about like the $1 million payout. I don't think they include the opens. I don't think so. I think that's pro national events and then the pro shootout. I believe that's what they're talking about, but I could be wrong too. So.
Yeah, and honestly, like I think just $800 payout is just a product of being in South Dakota. Like we said, I mean, it's kind of a middle of nowhere spot, so I'm sure the entries
was it the same? Was it the same for the other one, the Matt one?
Well, just look at how many. I think they only had 3 tiers in like South Dakota.
Yeah.
Whereas like when we were in Erie, they had like 4 or 5 tiers. You know what I mean? So just the overall volume of teams. I mean, that's going to affect the payout too. And I thought you guys did a good job answering. I wasn't trying to get anyone like in trouble, but like no, but like I think it's a fair point to make. You're not going to attract the big name pros to go to South Dakota for $800. It just doesn't make financial sense.
You guys aren't the only ones that have those questions, and I mean those answers that we gave, they're just honest answers.
Yeah,
and,
of course.
We're all people. We want to know what's going on. I'm sure we'll get more answers as we go, and I'm sure that not every tournament we go to is going to be, a $50,000 shootout, in Gainesville, and something that we're all shooting for. Like, but there's going to be a lot of tournaments where we can go out, we can get our exposure, we can still win and still have a successful week, and just add another notch into our belt. And it's important for us to get those reps to stay at that high level. So, I mean, the ACL just creating the opportunities is a positive
Absolutely.
overall.
So, all right. So, Chris, you've been so polite and sitting there, and you're just so good looking. I can't.
Yeah, our
we gotta
viewers
ask you-
love seeing
Okay.
you.
So,
down that
so
corner.
let me ask you. So, let's start off with, why have you been able to remain successful, right? So, like Cody alluded to in the beginning that, like, you were one of the first, right? But like, there's hundreds of bag companies now. It's got to be more than you're just the first. Like, what do you credit this success to?
Man, it's been a hard run. It's not always so easy to make cornhole bags, I can tell you that. But really, making my first and only bet for a long time on Cody and Adam definitely helped. They actually won that first national down in Florida, and the rest is YouTube history.
Listen, I mean, seriously, that makes
Cody
sense.
always grins and grits his
Our first
teeth
set of
about
bags
it.
that we ever bought, our first set of bags we ever bought were local bags, and it's because I saw those two on ESPN 2 weeks before our first tournament that we ever went to, and actually it was at the Cornhole at the Q, and I actually met Adam. I have a picture like way back when. I don't. I mean, he probably. But seriously, like I remember. But that's why I bought those bags, because you guys were throwing local. I'm like, well, shit, I don't know anything else about cornhole, but these guys were throwing these bags, so they must work. So that has to be part of it. But what else is it? I mean, it can't just be because of these two guys. I mean, you work your ass off. I know.
For the record, though, I just wanted to tell Adam he definitely has that photo framed and it's hanging above his bed.
It's not.
All right,
It's not.
he kisses it goodnight every night.
I'll have you sign it someday.
We were. It was not that long ago, but in cornhole years, it feels like 20 years ago. I just remember, Cody going down there and Adam and them playing that match. And then I remember like a discussion when Cody called me back. He's like, dude, I don't know. That was really a memory I will never forget, is those guys having that game in the rain. You really couldn't have written a better story, to start off with our company, because we're a little bit different than everybody else. We've had growing pains just like everybody else. We just, maybe I'm just too dumb to quit. We just always figured out a way to get it done. And it hasn't always been fun. It's been a lot of stuff not fun, but if you stay with it, really you can do anything.
So one of the listener questions I absolutely loved is from Nick Courier. And he asked, Chris, do you feel as a bag maker, the best business model is to make just good products and let people come to you? Or do you feel like it's important to continuously pump out new products and try to find like the hot new bag? Like, I feel like I know you. I feel like I know your answer, but I want to hear what you're going to say.
Yeah. I mean, really defining what a hot new bag is. I mean, a hot new bag might only be 100 sets of them. So that makes them hot. We try to deliver a quality product and then get them in the hands as quickly as possible. And we may not have that quote unquote hot bag, but maybe one of our bags sells just as good, if not better, than the quote unquote hot bag. Because when you order it, we try to get it to you in a timely manner. And that's no cut on anybody else. I mean, when we first started, we had our struggles, and I respect everybody's struggle. We just took a lot of time and a lot of effort and reinvested in our business. And, really, whenever I owe people bags, it gives me heartburn. And so I try to just get heartburn from pizza.
Fair enough.
So let me ask you, obviously the ACL they've come up with a few different like bag policies this year that have kind of changed some things. So the first one was I think kind of the controversial one now, and I don't think it really affects you guys as much, but it's the 30-day policy that they're coming out with, where you can't basically promote a bag and say there's a 4 to 6 week time period. If you're selling a bag with the ACL stamp, you have to you're guaranteeing that you're going to get it within 30 days. Do you think that's something that the ACL should be policing? Or do you think that's something like, hey, we pay our $1,000 to get the stamp. Like, what we do is if people want to buy our stuff and wait 6 weeks, so be it.
Man, that's a good question. I mean, we're fortunate enough to we've never had that kind of wait time on anything. So it really has never applied to us. You know, I'm on the fence as far as if it's whose responsibility it is. I understand the ACL's point of view. Their name is on it and they want a good name behind it. So I do totally get that. I'm always a free market guy, so I let the market determine what's going to happen. But I really can see it both ways. I'm kind of neutral on it. I'm thankful that we can get them out in a timely manner, and that's not an issue to us. I will say that we're very fortunate to be in that position, but I'm on the fence, honestly. Okay. There's two very good sides there.
And then the other one is so I don't want to call it like they did like a switch, right? But they changed they changed the policy after you guys had already kind of agreed, right? I think it was like maybe end of June, beginning of July, where they said, hey, oh yeah, by the way, if you're going to have one series of bags stamped, they all got to be stamped. Was that so? I mean, as a bag maker, did that come as a surprise to you? Was that something that you had kind of seen the writing on the wall and you were preparing yourself for? Like, what did you think when you first saw that stuff?
So are you talking about the policy where like any bag that has your brand on it has to be stamped no matter what? Correct. Like even non ACL approved bags?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we're growing and learning and moving. I mean, I kind of took it as a surprise. I can see where they're coming from. I mean, I was for this, percentage on the bags because I think it's going to grow the sport and it's going to, in the end, make everybody more money. Mm-hmm. Just like with the player, the player payouts, I think we need to have some more clarity. I think that comes with a new organization and the things that they're doing so quickly. I think maybe some things don't get done, 100% correct, but I feel like the vision's there and the goodwill is there. It's just, as a business person, you don't want to have surprises or any gray area. And there's been some, but on the same token, I mean, who's turned cornhole into a national sport in 4 years? So you take the good with the bad, and there's been a lot more good.
Yeah, it's always a point that I try to show whenever we talk about we've gone over this bag policy a couple of times on the show, but we always point out that other sports that have been around for ages, they change every year. Look at the NFL. Hell, even golf, they drop one of the most controversial rules, and it was just about how you have to drop your ball when you have a new lie.
Or the putter. Or
the putter. I mean, everything changes.
I agree.
So rapidly in every sport that sure, this bag policy came out, but I feel like it was they gave people the time to kind of catch their breath on it. But at the same time, if it was a shock to some people, I could see why it would bother them. But in the grand scheme of things, shit changes repeatedly. So who are we to say? We have to kind of, like you said, they built an empire in 4 years. We kind of just gotta grow with the pains with them.
Well, who can adapt the best? I mean, I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, that's really what it's about. And I would not have made cornhole bags if I didn't see it on that ESPN3 broadcast. I wouldn't have done it. So I also keep that in mind as well.
Absolutely. Adam, last time we talked to Cody, we had talked to him a little bit about your guys' transition from bag choice. And I think Cody had mentioned that you had kind of wanted to transition to something a little bit faster than what you guys were traditionally throwing. Why did you decide that was the best move going forward for you guys?
Well, with everybody else with these fast bags, spinning around stuff and just the forgiveness, I think it was a better option for us. We can stroke with the best, but back in the day, our stuff used. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we're good. You're good. You're good.
All right. Yeah, back. A lot of our stuff used to hang up, and I just thought that it, would help us out in the long run to go with a faster bag.
Was there much of a learning curve for you guys switching over to something super tacky to something a little bit faster?
I don't think so. I mean, it's a lot of it's muscle memory, but it has a lot to do with the speed. I mean, I think we figured it out pretty quick.
I'm still learning. I can't figure it out. I'm still trying to figure it out.
Those guys can throw anything.
Cody, you had a hell of a season
Yeah, I
for
was gonna say,
throwing for throwing bags.
No,
Like
Cody,
were
I know you.
super
When you guys were
confident with.
playing together, what bags were you guys throwing primarily when you were throwing together in doubles?
Outlaws.
And then you switched though, right? Were you throwing outlaws in singles too?
No, I threw demons in singles.
Okay. Okay. So you wanted just something maybe
So that
just
living side was
a
a little bit
notch
slower for you.
slower.
I honestly, I don't know. Like the demons were a little more firm. It was easier
Okay.
for me to get them out of my hand. That's the biggest thing I have with just all the fast bags nowadays is like they are hole friendly because they're a little more loose. And for someone like me and Adam, I mean, I've had more trouble with it than he's had with it. He's had a lot of control. Um, we were power players. We really forced a lot of sticky bags, and we could cut through anything on a suede side at any point, back in 2012. Like there wasn't anything you could slow us down with. So having to switch from dialing back all that power to not only get your timing right to throw it straight and control that fast bag, but still be able to kind of control the power to where when you miss, you're not completely blowing by the hole. You're at least leaving yourself something to shoot at. It's tough. And for me, I felt like the demons were easier for me to control. I still feel like they're fast for what I really want to do. But at the same time, I feel like like you said, I had a really good season. I had a lot of success. I made far more bags this year than I've ever made. But I've also not been able to stop any bags in front of the hole because they all go in the damn hole. I can't stop them. But there's been a lot of success with that. And I mean, we had success with the Outlaws. Adam had a ton of success with the Outlaws. Like he won the single shootout at the end of the year. Like Chris said, like at the end of the day, we can throw anything. It's just, we've got to actually put in the time and the reps and figure out what that bag's going to do compared to another bag and that bag compared to another bag and get used to it and, just master it just like you would anything else.
I mean, if there was ever a hope for suede to come back on the pro circuit, I would think you guys would be the ones to do it. Because I mean,
suede will be back. I don't say that. I don't say that as a joke. And that's one of the things like we're seeing right now. Look at like what Eric Davis and like they're talking about it with Tony Smith here this last Open. It's gotten to the point now where the good players are good enough to realize that everybody can stroke much better than everyone could stroke 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, we were saying everybody can stroke, like everybody can make bags. And it's even better now. Now everyone's switched to, we're going to have to do something to stop everybody when everybody's making bags. And for another example, like look at Iowa when Matt lost to Kevin in the final, and then Ruben won. Kevin didn't miss any bags. And Matt told me after, like we were waiting on the shuttle to get to the airport. He was saying, I was just waiting for the kid to blow up, and he never did. No, he didn't. He made all his bags. And then when Matt had the block, he couldn't set one. It was too late. So it's just kind of that now people are wanting to switch to get something like Trey's bags are a little bit slower too. Something just with a little bit more control. You still want to be able to get to the hole. You still want it to be hole friendly and forgiving and everything, but you want it to be just a touch slower for when you need it, for when you need to keep things closer, for when you need to set something up to give somebody something to look at, just to break the rhythm. And suede very possibly could come back from players, not just us. I could definitely see it here over the next 2, maybe 3 years.
Yeah, anyone could throw it, but I mean, I think you guys could actually win with it.
You,
like what you were describing though, like with that, we like to call it the unicorn bag here. Where it's controllable yet hole friendly. I mean, it's such a juxtaposition in the cornhole world to like find that miracle bag between the two fabrics to make that happen. I mean, I think a lot of players think they found the right one for them. So I mean, what are you guys looking at throwing this year?
We're still kind of playing around. I like that we have a couple more options here, and I know we've been working with the champions a little bit as well. Those are definitely going to be in the arsenal now that every FAR tournament we're taking 2 bags, we can kind of load up on how many sets we want to take and figure it out as we get there. Like, we're getting to tournaments a day early. It's nice to be able to take out 6 different models and see how it's going to play for that day. Obviously, we're probably going to favor the things that we've used more and more comfortable with, but sometimes you face conditions that are not going to allow you to win with what you're comfortable with. So, I mean, demons are going to stay in my bag. We're still going to have outlaws in the bag. We had too much success this year with both of those sets. We'll probably be bringing some champions. I'm going to be bringing some 450s. Like, they're all going to be in the bag. And it's just
Listen,
like
you laugh at that.
Here comes the suede.
I
yeah,
love
like
bringing that back
I'm
out.
bringing suede, and like it's not. I mean, I guess it's funny nowadays, but it's crazy to me that 6 years ago, if you said like, "Hey, you're bringing suede," you'd be like, "Yeah, so is everybody."
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you're bringing? Every bag has suede.
Yeah.
That's
6
got
years
suede
ago,
in
all
my
the
bag
bags were
right
waiting
now.
for you at the boards.
So
Yeah.
let me ask you. So like this transition, right, to going to like across the board, going to faster bags, is it more of like that you described yourself as like that power player, or is it more that like you kind of grew up playing the game, having to play a little bit of a strategy? Like, do you miss that, like the strategy aspect of it, like the thinking aspect of it?
There's still strategy for sure, and I mean, maybe I don't know. Like, I like to think there was a ton of strategy back in the day, but the top players were just as good as the top players now, but the fields are so deep that there would be a little bit more strategy. I feel like we didn't want to switch I didn't want to switch just because we're stubborn. Like, it's hard when you've had success for years and years and years, and then it's just like, oh well, this is the way the game's going. Look at the breaks they're getting. Imagine if you got those breaks on top of your skill level.
Yeah.
Like, imagine where you would possibly be. Imagine if you put in the time that all these up and coming kids are putting in. Imagine if you did that. Imagine where you would be. Like, sometimes you're
Imagine if you didn't have a job.
right. No, right, but right, but
Imagine
like,
if you don't have kids.
yeah, I mean, it's just everybody's got things in their life, and I mean, but aside from that, just bags in general, I think it's just a transition of taking advantage of the options that we have nowadays compared to what we had before. We didn't have those options. It'd be, irresponsible to not take advantage of every single option that you have now and use it to your advantage until it gets taken away from you and you're not allowed to use it anymore. I think that the ACL did a very good job. And even, look at all Cornhole, they did a very good job just of coming out with something unique, which inspired a lot of people to do unique things.
Yep.
And, that's credit to the game itself. The game's evolving. It will evolve further. There will be a lot of opportunity for manufacturers. There'll be a lot of opportunity for players to expand their arsenal of, not only bags, but just skill and talent. Like, the roll shot was non-existent 2 years ago, something you never heard of. So I think that we'll see a lot of that over the next few years. But yeah, for us, like, we're just going to have to keep our options open and give ourselves the best chance to win.
Adam, I wanted to ask you, the Pro Shootout Championship, right? Like, I remember I was sitting there watching it. I'm like, oh shit, he's in trouble, man. Like, and then you ended up winning. Like, and I remember seeing your face. Like, were you as surprised like that you won? Because I mean, I remember just watching it and seeing your face, and you are almost like shocked that you won yourself. Like, just take us through that, like that kind of like the final frame. Like, what was going through your head?
I mean, I cut around the bag pretty good, and that's what I was trying to do on the 4th bag to force him to airmail. But I mean, everybody's asked me that question several times. Like, I mean, you act like you didn't win. I knew I won. I just couldn't believe that he actually gave me 4 points to give me the game.
Yeah.
When in general, I needed 3 to tie. I mean, I think it was more of a shock. Like, I got 4 on a 10-round game at the 10th round to win 20 grand. I think it was just more of a shock.
Especially Odlin, who is
points.
like such a conservative player. Yeah, I mean, like, I thought any day of the week, he would just give you the 3, go on to overtime, like he had done previously in that year.
Yeah, I mean, it was, like I said, it was just, I was battling the whole game. I don't know. I wasn't shooting my best. That's for sure. If you've seen the game
I didn't want to
itself.
say it. I didn't want to say it.
I was behind the whole game. I don't know if everybody has actually seen it, but I mean, it really did come down to the 10th round. And I mean, I made a couple good shots. I tried to knock him off there under that one, but cut around. And then I tried to cut around again, just to force an airmail. Cause you know, I knew I needed 4 to win it. I just couldn't believe that it ended in that way to give up 4 points.
All right, so we asked Cody this question last time he was on. Are we going to see a female win singles this year at a national championship?
Is that a question for me?
I was going to ask Adam. I was going to let Adam
I was gonna say
start.
that's what I thought. Like,
Oh,
you asked me this once. Yeah.
Oh, you're letting me.
Oh, yeah.
I think there's potential.
Yeah.
I'll leave it at that.
So, I mean, Cody, I want to just real quick. You played the match against Cheyenne last year at the World Championship, where I would say I'm going to be nice and say 90% of the crowd was against you and rooting against you. Does that ever bother you, like that? Like, you're not the, I guess, like, for lack of a better term, like the villain in the match. Does that bother you? Do you feed off that shit?
It really bothered me in Wichita. Other than that, like, it doesn't get under my skin too much. Wichita is pretty pissed off about it. But other than that, like that match there, you don't really notice. And the thing is, when you're in the crowd, you notice a lot more who's against who, and you hear like the whispers more when you're in the crowd. The players don't hear that, and when you're dialed in, like Cheyenne, what she did to win that game, like I was up 20-15, and I think it was like 6 of the last 8 rounds of the game. I 4-bagged 6 of the 8 rounds. So she made up 6 points in 8 rounds and pretty much like 4-bagged me all 8 rounds.
We ended up leaving our live broadcast to go watch that match because our match was a blowout. So we just kind of left.
Yeah, we just walked away
and watched that
Yeah,
match.
like she played great, and like honestly, when she was going up, she won that bracket, and I was 100% certain she was going to win that bracket. And no disrespect to Doug or Eddie or Corey, who stomped me after that as well, who was trying to make their way back through. Like they all played great. Doug and Eddie had a great match as well. That was really close. But Cheyenne was on another level. Cheyenne was shooting to win the tournament, not just win a bracket. And when she had Ryan, I legitimately thought she was the favorite. No disrespect to Ryan. Ryan's had a great year as well. What I saw from Cheyenne, like she was the favorite in that match. And then going up against Trey, it was very close. And I think what Trey did to win was, he got a few more blocks up than most people got. And as everyone noticed, Cheyenne missed just a few more times than what she had been missing. She didn't play bad. She just missed a few more.
Yep.
I think that there is potential. And I think there's potential for a female to win outside of Cheyenne. I don't think it's just her. I think that there's, 3, maybe 4 potential women that could come out and win a national. And that's just impressive to think about, because between Adam, myself, like we haven't won a singles national, I don't think. Made some good runs, got some seconds, like it's great, but it's hard. It's really hard. So just to have that many people that are in contention is
lots of seconds.
Lots of seconds. Yeah. Lots of seconds. But yeah, there's a lot of I think a female could win.
So Chris, I know you have to run here to pick up your kid from I wanted to ask you one of the listener questions. Rob Law, okay? He wants to know if you had one drink to partake in the rest of your life, would it be Busch Light Apple, Fireball, or Gisley Seltzer?
Gisley. He said Gisley.
Is it Gizzy?
Gizzy. I don't know. That's always fun. Gizzy.
Well, actually, we had a little Crown Apple and Busch Light Apple mix. That but that's what I've been doing a little bit of.
Okay, all right. Well, that's
that Gisley's good too.
All right. So Tim Morsey, Cody, he said you're kind of known as a guy with some flair. You talk a lot. Who's the best trash talker that you've played against?
I had a lot of fun at Worlds playing Corey Morrison.
Really? Okay.
Like that. I don't have a lot of people that talk back. I like the way Jordan Power goes about it, because after he gets his shit kicked in, and it's not like always, like he wins a lot.
Yeah.
But there was one time where he was talking a lot in Erie against Brett, and it was a really close match, and Brett won. And he didn't just like slap his hand afterwards. Like Jordan like looked him in the eye, shook
He's a
his
good
hand,
dude.
gave him a hug, and he said,
Yeah.
hey,
That's good
good
stuff.
shooting, boy. And that's what you want to see. Like everyone takes everything so personally nowadays.
Yep.
And everyone that thinks I'm a trash talker now, like they didn't get to see me back in 2012. Like they couldn't handle that. Like I've dialed it back 90%, and now I'm just
Time
talking.
to turn
Like
it back
I'm
up.
not. What's
Time.
I turned it back up? Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, Cornhole needs it, man.
it's like you I don't know, walking a fine line. We're in spots now where we got to be careful and not get in trouble. And I've done pretty damn good job of like keeping it to the level it needs to be, and just talking, and making it more just about the game itself, and not taking personal shots, and just doing my thing. I like what Jordan Power's doing. I like watching him. I think Corey Morrison's that was the most fun I've ever played that's actually trash talked me back. Uh, I don't feel like trash talk actually happens that much. I think
No.
people are talking and maybe say something just about the game that's not directed. Me and Corey were going back and forth to each other, and he initiated it. And
love it.
it was really fun, and he was shooting great, and it made me want to shoot so much better when I was off. And he throttled me, but that was fun. I really enjoyed that game.
Adam, what about you? Who's the best trash talker you've played against?
I don't know. I mean, I say my comments here and there, but I don't know if I've really actually ran into anybody that like the whole game that somebody was saying something, maybe other than Cody.
I think there's one tear rolling down John Lemaster's face right now.
All right, you got one.
I do actually. So our buddy Nicholas Howell, he always puts up great questions on here. So he wanted to ask Cody and Adam if you could switch bodies with another ACL pro, Freaky Friday style, for an entire tournament weekend. Who would you switch with and why? I feel like Adam's answer is going to be inappropriate.
Adam's not allowed to answer this question.
I plead the fifth.
I got a really funny answer, but I don't think I should say it.
No, you definitely should say it.
I really don't think I should. So I'm gonna have to pass on that one, because I feel like who I would switch with, I'd end up just skipping the tournament and going doing something else. Let's just leave it at that.
You're pleading the fifth too? All right. Fair enough.
Listeners, use your imagination, all right?
Let's see here.
My safe word is pineapple.
Too many syllables, man.
All right, so Bud Wilson wants to know, have you guys ever been mad or upset enough at each other? Were you guys ever thought about, like, maybe it's time to go find another partner?
No, not to that level. But I mean, hell, like I think this year I got pretty mad in Nashville in the just the rounders where nothing even mattered. Like we had a lead and we were rolling, and then like we just kind of gave it all up, and like I lost my shit there, and that was the first time like I've lost it like that in years, that like that bad. But it's never gets to the point where it's just like, oh well, now we're just gonna quit. Like we're not quitters. I mean, if we were quitters, then we would have quit a long time. We would have quit when this stuff got hard. Like when we stopped winning all the damn time. Like we would have quit. We would have quit right then. But no, like I mean, you see a lot of players that are switching partners and doing new things, and wanting to just form the best teams and wanting to do all that. And I think that's great. I think they create stories and everything. For us, like we just get along too well. Do we get along as what we did in the very beginning? Maybe not. I don't know. Like I don't really remember 10 years ago. We've drank a lot since then. Like it's hard to remember. But no, like for me, I mean, if it gets to the point where I'm not playing well enough, I expect him to say, hey, I'm finding someone else next year. And it's not gonna mean hard feelings, and it will go the same way. If I say, hey, you're too old, I'm gonna.
Oh,
I love it.
don't make me
I love
get Jason Mora back out. I'll trade you in quick.
All right, so we're gonna let the people at home go. Thank you guys for joining us. So I'll have you guys hang on for just a minute. Chris, we announced in our part before that we're happy we're now sponsored by Local Bags, so we're excited to kind of help spread the good word of Local Bags, and we're excited to be part of the team now. And
We have the privilege of
we got the
reviewing
beautiful lineup here in
the
front of
three
us.
new ones in front. We threw the whole slew out there, but loved them, man.
So we're
Loved 'em.
excited. We appreciate you and everything you do, and well, obviously, you guys are welcome on anytime.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
All right.